edition of Press Coverage. Tim McManus and Josh Paul Neal. Birds 24/7, and the Eagles are in a death spiral, but we continue to march on here and try to figure out what's going on with this team. And at some point, in what's going to be just a few weeks from now, Jeffery Lurie and Chip Kelly are going to sit down after Lurie kind of analyzes everything and takes it all in. What does Kelly have to do between now and then for him to be able to put his best foot forward and have a chance of holding on to what he currently has?
Well, I mean, to keep his job, I think it's just going to be resiliency. I mean, if he can't keep this team together and they keep going down like this, there's no reason to keep him around. I feel like I've been more supportive than other people in terms of giving him another shot and keeping him next year just because of his winning percentage and that sort of stuff. But if you can't hold together this locker room when adversity hits and you just let these losses keep piling up of 45 points, then what do you really have? Because even if he has the good times, if you can't bounce back from the bad times, that's not someone you want in control of your team.
I think that's pretty fair. And, if it continues to go on like this, this is not a good team. I mean, everybody kind of recognizes that. But to lose in the fashion that they did the past 2 weeks kind of speaks more to, all right, it's not just the talent. Because I don't think their talent is representative of getting blown out by the Bucs and then doing it again in Detroit, right? I mean, there's not that kind of talent disparity, so it speaks to something more. If it were to continue on like that, then it could be viewed by the owner potentially as a rejection of the head coach. You understand what I mean? Like if it's like philosophical, the way his methods, those kind of things. I mean, it might speak to something larger than this was just a team that hit a rough skid if they're not going to compete. So I think it's very important that this team competes and shows some fight for this head coach down the stretch to kind of send that message to the owner that we have this guy's back. And so I think it's a very critical 5 final weeks for Chip Kelly for this season. Starting in New England. I mean, who else do you want to go up against to start that fight than the Patriots? But they are a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
The Eagles are desperate and perhaps will show some of that fight. What do you think?
Well, Chip gave, I thought, a great response today. And one of the questions, someone asked him, well, how did the Patriots keep it rolling with all these injuries? And his response was, well, did Tom get hurt?
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously, the biggest thing is, despite all these other injuries, if you have arguably the best quarterback of all time and one of the best coaches of all time, these injuries at these other positions don't have that big of an impact. And despite the injuries, I see it honestly playing out like the last 2 weeks where they could give up 42, 45 points. What they really need to do if they want to win this game is be a big winner in the turnover margin. When you have that big of a disparity in the quality of teams as the Eagles and the Patriots do, turnovers is a great equalizer. And that's what they're going to need to do if they want to even have a shot at winning.
And if you're going to turn over Tom Brady, I think the only way to do that is via the pass rush. You're going to have to get him uncomfortable and off his mark, try to knock the ball out of his hands when he's in his drop, or just kind of hit him while he's throwing, so maybe you can get a turnover or two. Uncharacteristically, it would be for what looks like the greatest quarterback of all time, going up against this defense. So I don't think it's going to go in the Eagles' favor. I mean, I'm not going on any kind of crazy limb there, but I do think they'll show a little fight. I think they'll show a little bit of fight and hang in this game, but ultimately it's gonna play out in the what's going to be the Super Bowl champions more than likely's favor against this Eagles team that's just having a rough time. But we'll see how it plays out, and thanks as always for our readership who hangs with us no matter what. On behalf of Josh, I'm Tim. We'll check you next time on Birds 24/7.